This is the last talk we were reading about his last talks, the last Bombay talks, 1985. Subtitle is there a meditation that is not brought about by thought? That is the subtitle. We were talking yesterday evening about sorrow and the ending of sorrow. When there is sorrow, it is great shock to the nervous system, like a blow to the whole physiological as well as psychological being. We generally try to escape from it by taking drugs or drink or through every form of religion. Or we become cynical or accept things as being inevitable. Can we go into this question very deeply, seriously? Is it possible not to escape from sorrow at all? Perhaps my son dies and there is immense sorrow, shock, and I discover that I am really a very, very lonely human being. I cannot face it. I cannot tolerate it. So I escape from it. And there are many escapes, mundane, religious, or philosophical. This escape is a waste of energy. Please listen to this talk as if you are listening for the first time. Not to escape in any form from the ache, the pain of loneliness, the grief, the shock, but to remain completely with the event, with the thing called suffering. Is that possible? Can we hold any problem? Can we hold any problem? Hold it and not try to solve it. Try to look at it as we would hold a precious, exquisite gem, jewel. The very beauty of the jewel is so attractive, so pleasurable that we keep looking at it. In the same way, if we could hold our sorrow completely, each one of us, without a movement of thought or escape, then that very action of not moving away from the fact brings about a total release from that which has caused pain. We'll go into this a little later. And we should also consider what is beauty. Suddenly, you see, there is a shift. Sorrow to beauty. Beauty is very important. Not the beauty of a person or of the marvelous paintings and statues in museums and ancient man's endeavor to express his feelings in stone or in paint or in poems. We should ask ourselves, what is beauty? Ourselves meet each one of us. Beauty may be truth. Beauty may be love. Without understanding the nature and the depth of that extraordinary word, beauty, we may never be able to come upon that which is sacred. So we must go into the question of what is beauty. When you see something extraordinarily alive, beautiful, majestic, for a moment, for a second, the very majesty of that mountain, the immensity of it drives away, puts aside all self-concern, all problems, at that second, there is no me watching it. The very greatness of the mountain drives away, for a second, all my self-concern. Have you noticed a child with a toy? He has been naughty all day long, which is right. And you give him a toy, and then for the next hour, until he breaks it, he is extraordinarily quiet. The toy has absorbed his naughtiness, has taken him over. Similarly, when we see something extraordinary, beautiful, that very beauty absorbs us. That is, there is beauty when there is no self. This is the gist of all what I have read, you know. So that there is beauty when there is no self, no self-interest, no travail of the self, without being absorbed or shaken by something extraordinarily beautiful like a mountain or a valley in deep shadow, without being taken over by the mountain, is it possible to understand beauty? That is without the self. Because where there is the self, there is no beauty. Where is the self-interest, there is no love. So love and beauty go together, they are not separate. We have also to talk over together what is death. Now, from sorrow to beauty to death. What is death? That is one certain thing that we all have to face. Whether we are rich or poor, ignorant or full of erudition, death is certain for every human being. We are all going to die, and we have never been able to understand the nature of death. We are always frightened of dying, aren't we? And we hope for continuity after death. So we are going to find out for ourselves, for each one of us. I am putting that from my side for each one of us. What is death? Because we are going to face it, rather, I am going to face it, whether we are young or old. And to understand death, we must also inquire into what is the living and what is our life. Are we wasting our lives? By that word wasting, we mean dissipating our energy in various ways, dissipating it in specialized professions. Are we wasting our whole existence, our life? Or if you have a certain talent, that talent is a danger to a religious life. That talent is a danger to the religious life. Talent is a gift, a faculty, an aptitude in a particular direction, which is specialization. Specialization is fragmentary. It's a fragmentary process, so you must ask yourself whether you are wasting your life. You may be rich, you may have all kinds of faculties, you may be specialist, a great scientist or a businessman, but at the end of your life, has all that been a waste? All the travail, all the sorrow, all the tremendous anxiety, insecurity, the foolish illusions that man has collected, all his gods, all his saints and so on, have all that been a waste? You may have a power, you may have power, position, but at the end of it, what? Please, this is a serious question that you must ask yourself. Another cannot answer the question for you. Another cannot answer. So, what is it that we call living? Earning money, going to the office from 9 to 5, overworked either in a laboratory or in an office or in a factory, and the endless conflict, fear, anxiety, loneliness, despair, depression. This whole way of existence is what we call life. Living, and to that we hold. To that we hold. This we call living, and to that we hold. But is that living? This living is pain, sorrow, anxiety, conflict, every form of deception and corruption. Where there is self interest, there must be corruption. See the emphasis. There must be corruption when the self interest is there. And we are afraid of dying, which is to let go of all the things that we have known, all the things that we have experienced and gathered, the lovely furniture and the beautiful collection of pictures and paintings. And death comes and says, you cannot have any of those things anymore. So we cling to the known, afraid of the unknown. We can invent reincarnation, but we never inquired into what is it that is born next life. What is born next life is a bundle of memories, because we live by memories. We live by the knowledge we have acquired or inherited, and that knowledge is what we are. Why has the brain separated living, which is conflict and so on, from death? Why has this division taken place? Does this division exist when there is attachment? Please, we are talking over things together. We are sharing this thing which man has lived with for million years, the living and the dying. So we have to examine it together and not resist, not say, yes, I believe in reincarnation, that is what I live by. To me, that is important. Otherwise, the conversation between us will come to an end. One is attached to so many things, to the guru, to accumulated knowledge, to the memory of one's son or daughter, and so on. That memory is you. Your whole brain is filled with memory. Memory not only of recent events, but also the deep abiding memory of that which has been, the animal, the ape. We are part of that memory. We are attached to this whole consciousness. That is a fact. And death is that, the cutting off of everything that we have got. But what is it that continues? You understand my question? What is it in us that desires to continue? Is there a continuity at all, except of your bank account? You're going to the office every day, your routine of worship, and the continuity of your beliefs. They are all put together by thought. And the self, the me, the ego, the persona is a bundle of complicated, ancient, and modern memories. You can see it for yourself. You don't have to study books and philosophies about all that. You can see it, you can see it for yourself. You can see for yourself very clearly that you are a bundle of memories. And death puts an end to all that memory. Therefore, one is frightened. Now, the question is, can one live in the modern world with death? Not suicide. We are not talking about that. But can you, as you live, end all attachments, which is death? Ending everything every day, ending all your attachments, that is what it means to die. But we have separated living from dying. Therefore, we are perpetually frightened. But when you bring life and death together, the living and the dying, then you will find out that there is a state of the brain in which all knowledge as memory ends. But you need knowledge to write a letter, to come here, to speak English, to keep accounts, to go home, and so on. You need knowledge, but not knowledge as something that entirely occupies your mind. Similarly, can the brain use knowledge when necessary, but be free of all knowledge? I will read it again. Similarly, can the brain use knowledge when necessary, but be free of all knowledge? That is, our brain is recording all the time. You are recording what is being said now, and this record becomes a memory. You hear a statement of this kind, that is, living is dying. They are not two separate things at all. You hear the statement not only with the hearing of the ear, but if you listen carefully, you also hear the truth of it. You also hear the truth of it, the actuality of it. And for the moment, you see the clarity of it. Later on, you slip back. You are attached. You know all the rest of it. So, is it possible for each one of us, each one of you to die at the end of the day to everything that is not necessary, to every memory of hurt, to your beliefs, your faiths, your anxieties, your sorrow, and all that every day. And then you will find that you are living with death all the time. Death being the ending. One should also go into the question of ending. We never end anything completely. We end if there is some profit in it. Love has nothing whatsoever to do with pleasure, with sensation. Love is not put together by thought. Therefore, it is not within the structure of the brain. Love has nothing whatsoever to do with pleasure, with sensation. Love is not put together by thought. Therefore, it is not within the structure of the brain. It is something entirely outside the brain. While the brain, by its very nature and structure, is an instrument of sensation, nervous responses, and so on, love cannot exist where there is mere sensations. Memory is not love. Memory is not love. Man has always sought, has inquired into, has longed for something beyond the physical, beyond the everyday existence of pain and sorrow and pleasure. He has always sought something beyond, first in the clouds, in the thunder as the voice of God. Then he worshipped trees and stones. The primitives still do in the villages far away from these ugly, beastly towns. They still worship stones, trees, and all small images. Man wants to find out if there is something sacred. And the priest comes along and says, I will point out to you. I will show you. Just as the Guru does. And there are the rituals of the Western priests, their repetitions, and the worship of their particular image. And you too have your own images, or you may not believe in any of that. You may say, I am an atheist. I do not believe in God. I am a humanitarian. But man has always wanted to find out something that may be beyond time, beyond all thought. Is a religious life possible in this modern world? Important question. We'll be able to find out for ourselves what is really, truly a religious life only when we understand what religions actually are and put aside all that and not belong to any religion, to any organized religion, to any guru, and not have any psychological or so-called spiritual authority. There is no spiritual authority whatsoever. That is one of the crimes that we have committed. We have invented the mediator between truth and ourselves. So you begin to inquire into what is religion. And in the very process of that inquiry, you are living a religious life, not at the end of it. In the very process of looking, watching, discussing, doubting, questioning, and having no belief or faith, you are already living a religious life. See, till I read it again, you begin to inquire into what is religion. And in the very process of that inquiry, you are living a religious life when you are inquiring, not at the end of it, in the very process of looking, watching, discussing, doubting, questioning, and having no belief or faith, you are already living a religious life. We are going to do that now. We seem to lose all our reason, all logic and sanity when it comes to religious matters. So we have to be logical, we have to be logical, rational, we have to doubt, to question all the things man has put together, the gods, the saviors, the gurus, and their authority, all that is not religion. Have you ever noticed that where there is disorder, socially or politically, there comes a dictator? This is the right time to understand these things, what he is talking at that 1985. There comes a dictator, a ruler. We have recently had examples of this in Mussolini and in Hitler, that madman. Where there is disorder politically, religiously, or in our life, we create authority. You are responsible for the authority. And there are people who are only too willing to accept that authority. Where there is a fear, man inevitably seeks something that will protect him, safeguard him, that will hold him in a sense of certainty, complete security, because he is basically frightened. Out of that fear, we invent gods. Out of that fear, we invent gods. Out of that fear, we invent all the rituals, all the circus that goes on in the name of religion. All the temples in this country, all the churches and the mosques are put together by thought. You may say that there is a direct revelation, but you never question, doubt that revelation. You accept it. Fear can disappear completely when you hold it. When you hold it, remain with it, not escape from it. When you give your whole attention to it, it is like a light being thrown on fear, a great flashing light. Then the fear disappears completely. And when there is no fear, there is no God. There are no rituals. All that becomes unnecessary, stupid. All that is irreligious. The things that thought has invented are irreligious because thought is merely a material process based on experience, knowledge, and memory. And thought invents the whole rigmarole, the whole structure of organized religions, which have no meaning at all. Can you put aside all that voluntarily without seeking a reward at the end of it? Will you do it? When you do that, then you begin to ask, what is religion? And is there something beyond all time and thought? Then he comes to the main question of meditation. Then what is meditation? That is part of so-called religion. So-called religion. What is meditation? Is it to escape from the noise of the world? To have a silent mind, a quiet mind, a peaceful mind, and you practice systems, methods to become aware, to keep your thoughts under control. You sit cross-legged and repeat some mantra. I am told that the etymological meaning of that word mantra is ponder over, not becoming. That is one of the meanings. And it also means absolve, absolve, put aside all self-centered activity. That is the real root meaning of mantra. We meditate consciously, practice in order to achieve something, to achieve a quiet mind, a sense of stillness of the brain. What is the difference between that meditator and the man who says, I want money, so I will work for it? What is the difference between the two? Both are seeking an achievement, aren't they? One is called spiritual achievement, the other is called mundane achievement, but they are both in the line of achievement. So, to the speaker, that is not meditation at all. Any conscious, deliberate activity, active desire, any conscious, deliberate, active desire with its will is not meditation. So, one has to ask, is there a meditation that is not brought about by thought? Is there a meditation which you are not aware of? Any deliberate process of meditation is not meditation. That is so obvious. You can sit cross-legged for the rest of your life, meditate, breathe, and do all that business, but you will not come anywhere near the other thing. Near the other thing. Because all that is a deliberate action to achieve a result. The cause and the effect, but the effect becomes the cause. So it's a cycle you are caught in. So is there a meditation that is not put together by desire, by will, by effort? The speaker says there is. You don't have to believe it. On the contrary, you must doubt it, question it, as the speaker has questioned it, doubted it, torn it apart. Is there meditation that is not contrived, organized? To go into that, we must understand the brain, which is conditioned, limited. And that brain is trying to comprehend the limitless, the immeasurable, the timeless, if there is such a thing as the timeless. And for that, it is important to understand sound. Sound and silence go together. You don't understand sound, the depth of sound, but you have separated sound from silence. Sound is the word, sound is your heart beating. The universe in the sense of the whole earth, all the heavens, the million stars, the whole sky is filled with sound. Obviously, you don't have to listen to the scientists about it. And we have made that sound into something intolerable. So we want to have a brain that is quite peaceful. But when you listen to sound, the very listening is the silence. So we want peace and silence. But when you listen to sound, the very listening is the silence. Silence and sound are not separate. Meditation begins at the first step, which is to be free of all your psychological hurts, free of all your accumulated fears, anxieties, loneliness, despair, and sorrow. That is the foundation. That is the first step. And the first step is the last step. If you take that first step, it is over. But we are unwilling to take that first step because we don't want to be free. We want to depend on power, on other people, on environment, on our experience and the knowledge. You are always depending and are never free. All the dependence, all fear. Therefore, the ending of sorrow is love. Where there is that love, there is compassion. And that compassion has its own integral intelligence. And when that intelligence acts, its action is always true. There is no conflict where there is that intelligence. You have heard all this. You have heard about the ending of fear, the ending of sorrow, about beauty and love. But the hearing is one thing and action is another. You have heard all these things which are true, logical, sane, rational, but you won't act according to that. You will go home and begin all over again. Your worries, your conflicts, your miseries. So one asks, what is the point of it all? What is the point of listening to the speaker and not living it? The listening and not doing it is a waste of your life. If you listen to something that is the truth and do not act, you are wasting your life. And life is much too precious. It is the only thing that we have. And we have also lost touch with nature, which means we have lost touch with ourselves, which is part of nature. You do not love the trees, the birds, the waters, the mountains. We are destroying the earth and we are destroying each other. All that is such a waste of life. When one realizes all this, not merely intellectually or verbally, then one lives the religious life. To put on a loincloth, then one lives a loincloth, or to go around begging, or to join a monastery. That is not religion. That is not religious life. The religious life begins when there is no conflict, when there is this sense of love. Then you can love another, your wife, your husband, but that love is shared by all human beings. That love is shared by all human beings. It is not given to one person and is therefore not restricted. Very important. He is summarizing the whole thing. Love. So if you give your heart and mind and brain, there is something that is beyond all time. And there is the benediction of that. There is the benediction of that. Benediction, by the way, most of us must be knowing, it's a sort of blessing, ashirvad, or whatever you may call. You see? And there is the benediction of that. Not in temples, not in churches, not in mosques. That benediction is where you are, where each one of where I am. So initial line was, if you give your heart and mind and brain, there is something that is beyond all time. There is the benediction of that. Not in temples, not in churches, not in mosques. That benediction is where you are, where you are. Thank you, friends. This is all. I have a few lines I have deleted just to make it short enough so that other friends can discuss their whether in their life how do they feel about this, what he is talking, how do each one of us feels what he is talking to my life and my actions in my 24 hours life, what relationship it has to me exclusively, as he's always telling nobody else can give it to you, because we live as individuals. That's why. Otherwise, if holistic life you have, everything is, then you are the world, you are the universe, you are everything, everybody. So this is the message, and now you are free to express your individual in the sense, each one of you, how do you take this talk, how it affects you and your actions in your daily life. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.
Modak sir, after Harshad sir, I will speak.
Harshad sir.
Yes. Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Pradeepji. You asked how do we feel about this whole talk. I feel that it is too many words, and what my way of studying Krishnamurti is not read the whole many pages, but only read maybe one paragraph and then close my eyes and watch how my mind works. And
Yes.
so Krishna ji always starts with the problem of sorrow, and then he says that we are escaping from sorrow, psychological sorrow. If we have some problem, medical problem, yes, we can go to a doctor and doctor can help us. But psychological problems, sorrow, generally people escape. People go to also psychologists, or they ask, go to a priest, or they go to astrologer. But very few people can look at this nature of sorrow. And why Krishna ji is talking about staying with sorrow is because he himself experienced great sorrow when his brother died, and he felt that his brother will not die. So it was not only losing his brother, whom he loved very much, but also the belief that the masters will save Nitya's life. It did not happen. So it is said that he cried for 10 days and he was in the ship. But after 10 days, he came out and he was free from suffering. And he was and he said, I and my brother are one, something like that. So, all love, beauty, happiness, freedom, sacredness is all related, and it indicates that the absence of self, because self creates all our problems. And how one can end the self? That is a question. Self cannot be ended by self itself, but if a person is very curious to be alone, to be silent, to be curious, to turn the attention inward and watch, not with a idea of getting somewhere, but because one is curious and not taking a particular topic like love or beauty, but whatever is happening, and so much is happening during the daytime. So, without concentrating on any topic, can we look at the movement of thought? And to look at the movement of thought, one needs something else. If a thought is looking at another thought, then we are in the same plane and we multiply more and more words, more ideas. So there is another instrument within us which is not awakened in most human beings, and that is why there is so much escape happens. And that instrument, what Krishnaji calls choiceless
Gel,
awareness or
gel,
intelligence.
gel, aloe vera.
Yeah. So as long as that awakening has not happened in our life, awakening of intelligence, which can see thoughts very clearly, just like we see a tree or a nature or any object. Similarly, the thoughts which are coming within us as they are arising can be seen by this instrument called intelligence or awareness. And so our problem is not thinking, thinking will come and go, but our problem is the lack of awareness or intelligence. That is not awakened because it is hidden under dark layers or dense layers of thinking. And this Krishnamurti talks about a lot about questioning, but I don't question. To me, questioning means throwing a stone in a quiet lake, and then it creates many ripples, many thoughts. So questioning creates many ripples. But a true question is the question which makes your mind silent and curious looking at itself. So I am different than Krishnamurti. I am not so much advocating too many long talks, but being quiet, silent, looking inward, it tells the whole story. And we don't need to read Krishnamurti for many years and keep on reading, keep on discussing. It's not required. Requires to look at oneself as one is, and it tells the whole story. The whole humanity is within us. And so we can understand Krishnamurti very quickly, not by listening to the whole talk, a little bit required, and more experimenting in our daily life. So in our daily life, if somebody does something which is unpleasant and the anger is arising, can we watch the anger as it is arising? Or when we look at a snake or a tiger and there's a fear comes, is it possible to look at fear when it arising, not later on analyzing? Not analysis is paralysis. So the question is, are we able to look at what is as it is? And that is what I call meditation. Looking at what is as it is without this observer or a thinker who tries to analyze it. So the title, is there a meditation that is not brought about by thought? Yes, thought creates ripples, but in silence, thoughts can be watched as they are arising. Just like if you are in an empty room and the door is open and somebody enters in the room and you know that somebody has entered. So in the same way, in the silent mind, if a thought is arising, it can be seen as it is at its root. So that is what meditation means to me, and we cannot try to meditate. It can happen when we are really very curious, very attentive, very honest in looking at our own mind and not telling other people what to do. Because many people are interested in changing other people. They are not able to look at their own mind. So only when we are able to understand our own self, maybe we can understand other human beings and maybe possible to help if that person wants help. Otherwise, we can't impose ourselves on other people. Okay, I've finished. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Modak sir,
Dineshji.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, your voice is coming clear.
Okay. Verma ji has asked, what are the feelings of individual? Because we are treating ourselves as individual and we are living as individual. So let me express my views. In my views, JK is completely correct, but it is as per his uniqueness. He is also a unique entity, and whatever teachings he has given, that is his unique expression. In today's subject talk also, JK has used many words. This is the beauty of JK, that he switches over from one word to another. So in this also, he has used many words. Say for example, sorrow, suffering, passion, love, beauty, fear, insecurity, death, etc. Ultimately, thought. He has come to thought. He has also used thought as experience, knowledge, and memory. and sacred, that is beyond all the time and thought. This we will find in many of his teachings. Uh, and it seems that in his teaching that thought is the main, how to tackle thought, that is the main mm, center point of his teachings. He has also discussed about religion. He has criticized traditional approach and all that. He said, ending of sorrow is love, and when there is love, there is compassion. Here my views are, I am in doubt and have difference of opinion. Ending may be love, but sorrow goes through the conversion of aggressiveness, irritation, sometimes violence, etc. With underlying question, why me? Suppose I am in sorrow and you are not, or the world is not, in my views. Then I will ask question, why me? So if I don't have the energy, enough energy, then I am in sorrow. When I get the fresh energy, then it will be automatically converted into the aggressiveness. This also, these are my views and my experience also, that we become aggressive or we become a little bit violent also, or irritative sometimes. Further, he says, so meditation is something that is not contrived, organized. Here, his total focus is on exclusiveness. Means he considers everything as part of meditation. Arvind also said that total life is a yoga. But the question is how to start. One is to start from where he is, and if he directly goes for this thing, then it requires tremendous free energy. Meditation is, further he says, it begins at the first step, which is to be free of all your hurt, psychological hurts, to be free of all your accumulated fears, anxieties, loneliness, despair, sorrow. So again, we see, if we go for this, if one by one, if we go, he has already said at the other place that then it will be, you will take infinite time. So you have to keep it aside in one shot. If you go for that thing, that if you are going to keep it at one shot aside, then you will require tremendous free energy. So one has to have tremendous free energy. If you take that first step, that is over. That's what he says. My views are, these are the hurdles in JK's teaching. Yes, if one is able to do that, no issue. Again, he says different points at different places. Say, for example, here he has not touched many things which he has uh, said at other places. Like meditation means, the word means to ponder over, to think over. Here he has said to think over. And we are adding to it the ending of measurement. So one has to not only free from the past conditioning, also he has to be free from the measurement. In meditation, there must be freedom from from envy, greed, sorrow, and all the wounds one has received from childhood, psychological wounds and hurts. One should be free of all that. So again, how much one understand all these things, and if he remains with that, then because all these things cannot will not appear in front of him at one time. So time is again involved. And Harshad sir says that you can see your thoughts or you can observe your thoughts freely. But again, uh, everything will not come in front of our subconscious, our mind, conscious mind, in one shot. Then what to do? That is the issue. Three things are implied in meditation: to be aware, to be conscious of your environment, to be aware how you talk, walk, how you eat, what you eat, to be aware how you speak to another, etc., etc. This is choicelessly you have to be aware. Why I am speaking all these things? I have taken some of the points. There are so many other points, but just to save the time. This gives you great sensitivity. Means one should be sensitive also. Empathy, so that your body is subtle, sensitive, aware of everything that is going on around you. To be aware without any choice. Then comes the concentration, which he has criticized. Then attention. Give your whole energy listening totally to another, completely attend, not like a soldier who is drilled to attend. In attention, there is no center of the as the me. Uh, when you are attending so deeply, the brain becomes quiet naturally. There is no chattering. There is no control. The idea of controlling thought. Who is the controller to control the thought? It is another part of thought. So in meditation, there is no controller, there is no activity of will, which is desire. So here has come desire. So can our desire be fully go? Here again, the things comes like vairagya or sannyas, which tradition says. So if you are free from the desire, then only you can have that thing which he is talking about. Then the brain, the whole movement of the brain, apart from its own activity, which has its own rhythm, becomes utterly quiet, silent. It is not the silence cultivated by thought, it is the silence of intelligence, silence of supreme intelligence. In that silence, that which is nameless comes. Nameless is. That is sacred, immovable. It's not to be it is not to be touched by thought, by endeavor, by effort. It is the way of intelligence, which is the way of compassion. Then the whole that which is sacred is everlasting. That is meditation. Here again, he has said a very important thing. Your whole, all the senses. It is we are not talking of thought, senses. So all the senses should work together. Then only you can say that it is you are observing or you are seeing wholly and not partially or in a fragmented way. Meditation means emptying. Acha, this is repetition, so I am avoiding. Meditation means to put the things in their proper place, to bring inner order, which is beginning of meditation. Means you have to also learn how to put the things at their proper place. And what is there when you have to do this, then you have to understand every aspect of the issue, and then you can give the weightage to the right weightage to the thing, and then you can put it to have the inner order. Now, is it possible, this is part of meditation, is it possible for all the senses to operate as a whole? If so, then you will observe this operation of the whole senses acting. You will find there is no center from which senses are moving. So in such case, if our senses are fully awakened, flowering, then the body becomes extraordinarily quiet. Also, part of meditation is to find out oneself whether time can stop. Can you tolerate that there is no tomorrow psychologically? The next question in meditation is whether thoughts as a time can stop. When we say, can time end, it implies that the total emptying of the consciousness, which is the content. So, we have seen that these are the points, means these are the points to be covered. Means self-knowing is complete, content of consciousness, you have understood all that, psychologically you are free and all that, then perhaps that thing may come into the your that thing may approach you. That's what he said. Now, he has criticized tradition. From traditional point of view, JK mixes dhyan, dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. There are three words in our tradition: dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Dharana means to hold one thing in your mind. Dhyan means you become one with that, say, fear, envy, etc. in JK's words. And samadhi means you are not there, only the thing you hold is there. Then in the next step, even the thing which you hold is not there. The important thing is, this is just polar opposite of what JK is saying. So if that is, we are talking of now polarities. So if that is, by JK's statement, it is possible, then it should be possible by the traditional methods also. Because when you say I will say MV Prasad, R Prasad, then only Prasad will be attending me and not Janardhan Murthy Sahab. So नेम एंड नाम और नामी में कोई अंतर नहीं होता, ऐसा ट्रेडिशन कहता है. So what does it mean that you can go by tradition also, because it is just polar opposite of your JK's teachings. So we can go by tradition also, and so JK's teachings are part of his uniqueness, as per my view. Thank you.
Anybody else wants to say or comment? Please raise your hand. Please unmute Prasad, sir.
Thank you, sir. Namaste to everybody. I have missed the talk of Pradeepji. I'm sorry. But I want to express whatever I understand about this topic. Is the meditation that is not brought about? Is there meditation that is not brought about by thought? Yes, obviously. There is no confusion about this, so far as I am concerned. Krishnaji has stated at so many places that there is no system, and he has differed from all the systems. The Tibetan meditation, the Hindu meditation, the Christian meditation, the Islamic meditation, all types of meditations. They are all brought by thought. So what is left? And because all these meditations, they follow a particular path. And Krishnaji says, there is no path to truth. Because truth is not something stationary. If truth were stationary, something stationary, then there could be so many paths. There could be many paths. If there is a summit and many paths can reach that Everest, that summit. But it is not something like that. Truth is not something static or stationary. So there is no path to it. So then what is left? What is left is only, if possible, you have to reach some silence. You have to understand your consciousness. And your consciousness, to understand that, you have to be aware of both the exterior and the interior. You have to observe everything, both what is beautiful outside and also what is not beautiful. The squalor in the streets, or a beautiful woman. You observe everything. And there is no thought involved in this observation. You just are aware and you don't condemn anything. You don't justify anything. So that is meditation. Meditation is basically emptying your consciousness. The mind is chattering always. So you observe your chattering. You understand your chattering. The mind is living in the past. Yes, it is living in the past with your memories. Your personality is your memories. You are a nothing. Without your memories, without your status, without your positions, without your attachments, you are a nothing. You just understand that, you observe that. When you are attached, when you see your attachment, you just see it. That doesn't mean that you cut your bonds. It doesn't mean that you get away from your family. It is not that. Similarly, you see your attachment to your property. You want more and more and more. There is a supermarket more in Hyderabad. That like that, you are always for more, for something more. You are always becoming. See that becoming process. You are always want promotion, something. You observe that. That is, to my mind, meditation. Meditation that doesn't exclude anything. You observe everything. So, all systems, they are confined to a particular path, to a particular rut. Whereas Krishnaji's meditation is not based on any thought. It is only understanding the limitations of thought. How the entire modern civilization is based on thought, on measurement, and all that. You just understand that. And it is freedom. Meditation is freedom. Without freedom, there is no meditation. So, I think the answer is quite categorical. There is a meditation that is not brought about by thought. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kamlesh.
Dinesh, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Prasad sir said that truth is movable and it is not a fixed thing. How do we know? Actually, he himself said at other place that uh, in that silence there which is nameless comes nameless is that is sacred, immovable. It's not touched by thought, by endeavor, by effort. It is the way of intelligence, which is the way of compassion. Then that which is sacred is everlasting. Everlasting. So this is to be understood that it is beyond polarity. So we can't say that it is a fixed thing or movable thing or whatever it is. So here a correction is required. Another thing, suppose I am choicelessly aware of anything, all the things. See what will be the implications of that. Suppose I'm aware of anything. When can I say that I am aware of anything? Say I am aware of Prasad sir. When can I say? Immediately it will be converted into thought and I will say that I am aware of Prasad sir. So pure awareness cannot remain like that. Yes, if you are observing, then it is okay. But when you say pure awareness, can it rest like that? Or has it got any meaning? It will behave like if the man empties his total consciousness, then he will become zombie. So he says that technologically he should not be empty, but psychologically he should be empty. But all the things are linked. I have to give the weightage to it, and when I say I have to give a weightage to it in the life, immediately a psychological portion comes into picture. So all these things are to be seen. Thank you.
So the right step will be to have the right thinking first.
Yes. And right thinking means non-polar. Can you see a thing non-polarity with a non-polarity? Simply seeing has no importance or no meaning at all. When he says unitary moment, what does it mean? See, I am having a thought and there is an external situation. So both are linked and they are also together. So I have to find out that thing. I should have insight in that. I should see the truth in it. Then only intelligence can work. Otherwise, how intelligence can work? Without insight. Pradeep sir wants to say something.
Because Dinesh was talking about polar, that JK is polar opposite to tradition. That is how my mind works, you see. My mind works in opposites. So he could find opposite in this from that. So this is definitely this is a thought generated out of polarity, duality in my mind. So it is my mind's. Suppose he is saying, suppose you are choicelessly aware. What use it is? What for it is there? Is it personal? Awareness is personal. Ultimately, we are in ambivalence. We are trying to talk about individuality as well as holistic attitude towards life. So we are in that, in that, when we say that this is, he never said anything, don't do this thing. If we have listened to his talk or whatever, any talk, he doesn't say don't do it. Just see it in your life, what it does in your life. That's all. He's not saying don't do it. And even if he says, do you think you will stop? No, that he also knows. So this is not polar opposite. There is, when we talk of polarity, he talks very. He says that negation is no polarity. Love has no polarity. But we always talk in polarities. You see. So this is, and my mind is working. That's why you say that it is polar opposite. How can there be opposite when you at one time you talk Brahma is one only, and out of that, who creates opposites?
Can I
So
give the reply?
one has to be. Please let me have some patience, because we talk of opposites and negation. Even I wanted to ask this question, that negation has, there is a positivity as polarity. No. When he says negation, negation has no polarity. It's just seeing your condition and be out of it. That's all. He's not saying that it is polar. It has no polarity. Love has no polarity. Beauty has no polarity. But we are used to polarities because we can name, we can use words. When you have polarity in your mind, you can use n number of words because they are the output of that. Unless until you are holistic in your living, daily daily living, then you will not have these questions that he's opposite to that. He's a, and a number of examples are that he was very much he had all the praise for Upanishads. He had all the praise for so many, everything that helped humanity. He was never against it. He was never against it. But we pick up to say that Krishnamurti is against. Sorry, how can a person whose approach is holistic, who says that you are the world, how can be opposite to anything? Oppose anything rather, and tell you that nobody else can give you. So you have to see yourself. What I am talking, these words as knowledge, as gatherings, as my experience, we are talking that these are all in the form of thoughts. So simply saying that don't, he never he never said don't do it. See whether it is religion, what you think it is religion, and he is talking about religious life also. What is a religious life? When you are freeing, when you are free from dependence of all sorts, psychological minded. You may say that I'm dependent on my sabzi wala or pal wala. No, he is not talking of that. But psychologically and your belief system, in your belief system, you can see that this polarity is working. He has a different belief. No, he has no belief. You have a belief in something. You practice mantras. Do it. Nothing wrong with it. It's your energy. Everybody has his own energy. And dissipation of energy. He talks about dissipation. What are you doing with your life? Are you squandering? Are you wasting energy in these things and come back to your suffering and the daily life like any other day? Living with sufferings, living and all sorts of things, images. That I have to see that. That's all. Thank you very much.
Actually, what I wanted to say that other opposite polarity approach can also lead to that nameless. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, I have used, you are very correct. I have used polar opposite, but there can be n number of opposites which may go to the same place or may reach to the same place. So that's why he is also saying that there can be n number of paths, and it's a pathless land. That's why it becomes pathless land. That's what my understanding is. And he says that tradition approach may not lead to you in this particular talk. So there I have said that no, my views are it can also go to that, and we have got examples. Even Buddha has recommended eightfold path. Vipassana later on has introduced in it. Why? Even all these things, you mean to say that nobody knows the truth out of all these tradition? I got my own doubt. That's what I wanted to say.
So let Dr.
Harshad
Kulkarni
sir.
say something.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Actually, my throat is bad, but just few seconds. Krishna ji saying the meditation means thought shattering itself. What is thought or ego is defense against nothing. So that's what we have seen. It's a big joke, and we ourselves, what we thought as a thought is going and losing itself. That's what is happening now live, which I have seen. Thank you.
Harshad sir, one last word from you.
Yeah, Dinesh ji talks about Krishnamurti and then he talks about himself, what he feels. But I think it's better, we can't understand. Krishnamurti talks about his own state of mind when he is asking questions. We have to speak what we really feel and not repeat what Krishnamurti has said. And one thing what Dinesh ji said, that all our thoughts will not come naturally. Only one thought at a time comes, and even we don't know which thought will come. But there is a possibility of observing it, whatever thought comes. And that requires an ongoing, effortless awareness. So we cannot try to observe, it doesn't work. So that is a difficulty, that we don't have ongoing, effortless awareness, which can see thoughts, feelings arising as they are arising. And that's why everything becomes a problem. So, and about awareness converted into thought, I don't think it is. One can look at a tree without any thought coming. One can look at a human being. So this is, I speak from my side, that yes, I can look without thoughts arising. But yes, if you feel that thoughts are arising when you look at, then that is your reality. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks everybody for participation.
Thank you.